Welcome to Business Edge Radio, the show that gives you tips, tricks, tools, and techniques about how to build a more profitable business, while at the same time creating your perfect lifestyle. It's a show about working less and living more. A few golden nuggets, a little bit of wisdom, and over 35 years of business experience to help you keep your edge. Lifestyle entrepreneur, best-selling author, internationally renowned business speaker, and daddy of three, Mitche Graf brings the heat with actionable techniques for building the business and lifestyle of your dreams. Now your host, Mitche Graf.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my Unleashed tribe, and welcome to another edition of Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and life. Typically, I would say that I am your 58-year-old host in a 12-year-old body, Mitche Graf. But today, the tables are going to turn around a little bit. I sat down with the wonderful, the vivacious, and the gracious Brent Dehart from KYKN Radio in Keizer, Oregon, who interviewed me. And he got me to talk about things like what lessons you can learn from failing and what my biggest failure's been, why I get bored so easily, how passion plays a role in starting a business. When do you know when it's time to sell your business or just let go because it's dying a slow death? And we talk about my upcoming book, Customer Service is Dead, delivering 6-star service in a 1-star world. Very enjoyable conversation, and we will see how I do on the other end of the microphone. The past year has been a struggle for many businesses around the world and across our country, trying to remain positive and optimistic throughout the COVID pandemic. Between adjusting to new work routines, homeschooling our kids, and facing such uncertainty, the crisis has definitely taken a toll on all of us, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it's probably going to be this way until the foreseeable future. The new normal will be anything but normal. But as a resilient and ever-optimistic entrepreneur, or a business owner, or a manager, that's not exactly a bad thing. Times of crisis, after all, drive creativity and innovation. According to John Rampton over at entrepreneur.com, here's a few examples. During the Great Depression, patents spiked. These inventions included ballpoint pens and photocopying, the first working helicopter, the discovery of nuclear fission, and the car radio. Bill Gates noted in his blog post during World War II an amazing amount of innovation, including radar, reliable torpedoes, and code breaking, helped end the war faster. Airbnb succeeded following the Great Recession, since it was an alternative for anyone who had been priced out of hotels. And more recently, we've witnessed this as well. Whether it's clothing companies pivoting to producing face masks or Dyson designing a new ventilator, there's opportunities to hack the COVID-19 crisis. In good times, companies get fat, dumb, and happy when it comes to innovation. There's no boundaries and it's chaos. During turbulent times, however, entrepreneurs are forced to think differently to solve problems. Let's take a closer look at how you can make the most out of COVID-19. Number 1, follow the 3 R's. No, I'm not talking about reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's actually rapid recover revenue. Speed matters. It will not be enough for companies to recover revenues gradually as the crisis abates. They'll need to fundamentally rethink their revenue profile to position themselves for the long term and to get ahead of the competition. How can this be achieved? Well, your company's going to have to shape up a little bit. You'll need to have the startup mentality. Instead of extensive research, you'll need to take action fast. Companies will need to rethink their operating models based on how their people work best. Many companies now have a workforce that is working remotely for the foreseeable future. And this requires us to rethink our training procedures and policies, for example. We need to accelerate and transform our digital, our tech, and our analytics. We need to go further by enhancing and expanding our digital channels to remain relevant. Companies also need to understand what customers will value post-COVID-19 and develop new systems that support that customer service and tailor the customer experience based on those insights. There's also a good chance that your supply chain has been disrupted a little bit. As such, you will probably have to change your ecosystem and think outside the box, which is something that sharp entrepreneurs are always trying to do anyways. Rapid revenue response isn't just a way to survive the crisis, it's the next normal for how companies will have to operate. And when you're in good shape, You'll be able to rebuild operations and rethink your organization, accelerating your digital adaptation. Number 2, update how people and processes work. Considering that things have probably slowed down at least somewhat in your business, it's an opportune time to reevaluate how your teams work. Are they more productive working remotely? Or do you think they still need some face-to-face interaction, even if it is just a couple of times a week? Moreover, take the time to see where there are bottlenecks, financial waste, or inefficiencies within your organization. For example, maybe you're using ineffective tools, a flawed product strategy, or not managing their time effectively. Knowing this, you can improve these areas so that you can come back better than ever before. Number 3, search for local, state, and federal assistance. Regardless of whether you've had difficulty paying your bills or are hoping to expand your business, you should take advantage of local, state, and federal assistance. Funding options are an excellent start point, and these include things like the Paycheck Protection Program, Economic Injury Disaster Loans, SBA Express Bridge Loans, SBA Debt Relief, EPA grants, USDA Rural Business Development grants, Service-Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Program. Additionally, you may want to look into the following small business grants from agencies like grants.gov, challenge.gov, the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, and the U.S. Economic Development Administration. But don't forget to consult local and state agencies as well. There's many county and city grants available right now in most areas. You just need to spend some time cultivating the information. You should also meet with your accountant or tax advisor to see what tax relief is currently being provided. The best example would be the payroll tax deferral relief for the self-employed. Another would be tax credits to cover COVID-19 related employee paid leave. And number 4, be proactive, not reactive. There's a good chance that you've had or will continue to have some spare time on your hands. Some people haven't had a problem spending their time wisely. I got friends and family that have learned to play musical instruments, get back in touch with nature, or engage in some much-needed R&R. But you should also dedicate some of this extra time to reflect on your company's future and what it will take to get there. Will that require you to update your business plan? Do you need to expand your online presence, your production capacity, or increase your team training? Should you take some classes yourself to develop and strengthen your skills? Bottom line, don't ease up on the gas pedal. Use this extra time to get your business in prime position to jump on the opportunities and stay ahead of your competitors. Just be mindful that you don't burn out yourself. You don't want to be exhausted when the business world awakens. I might be a little on my own here, but when I have a day off, I get up extra early because I have so many things I want to do. Use your extra time wisely to build your business machine or your plans for the future and make sure that all your systems are efficient and ready to rock. It's basically a chance for every business in America to go through a rebirth of sorts, a rebrand, which is almost like giving birth to a child. Without the screaming, of course. Hello, Unleashed Tribe. I am so honored to have you as a loyal listener, and I'm very excited to tell you about the Business Edge Radio app, now available on Apple and Android devices. You can catch up on past episodes, watch short videos of the Business Edge Minute, our 60-second show that gives you quick and easy tips on building a better business and living a better life. And you'll get access to bonus materials that are only available on the app. In fact, I have a nice little PDF bonus waiting for you there right now. Plus, you can email the show, call the show, connect with us on social, check out our website, and even make a nice fluffy omelet. No, you can't really do that. Just go to the iTunes Store or Google Play Store, and you can download the Business Edge Radio app so you can be one of the cool kids on your block. Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and life. Now available in the App Store. Download it today. And if you don't, I'll come visit you on your day off. If you know anything about me, you know that I love my early mornings, and I really love a good cup of fresh roasted coffee. There's nothing better than getting started before the rest of the world with a good cup of joe. That's why I'm so excited to have Mountain Creek Coffee as a partner. The process is so simple. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. They don't roast your beans until an order is placed, which guarantees the absolute freshest coffee that you can get. Check out their artisan dark roast, medium roast, or decaf beans at mtncreekcoffee.com. And when you put in the code EDGE at checkout, you will receive 20% off your first order. I prefer the dark roast because of its full body and bold flavor. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. Log on to mtncreekcoffee.com and enter the code EDGE at checkout, and you will receive a 20% discount off your first order. Pretty cool stuff. Mountain Creek Coffee and Business Edge Radio, a partnership brewed out of the love of coffee. See what I did right there? The host for my interview today, Brent De Hart, is a serial entrepreneur himself, so he understands the pains that we all go through. He's a co-host of Newsmakers, a daily show that runs on KYKN, and is passionate about community involvement and enhancing the development of local resources and policymakers. I can't think of anyone better to have interviewed me. I've gotten to know Brent over the last couple of years, and I can honestly say that his passion for community and family is second to none. I'm so grateful that he took the time to sit down with me, and I hope you enjoy this wide-ranging and personal interview with me.
Hello and welcome to our insider look at the brain of Mitch. My name is Brent De Hart.
That's a scary intro.
We're here to talk with Mitche Graf. Of course, Mitch, we're going to be talking about your book, Customer Service is Dead, Delivering 6-Star Service in a 1-Star World. I like that title.
Isn't that intriguing?
It is.
It's very intriguing.
And I like some of your examples. We're going to get to that. I want to get to know Mitch a little bit more, understand what's going on in your brain. Because I know a lot of people who have read your stuff, heard you speak, heard your radio program, read your books and all this stuff. Boy, it'd be nice to have Mitch's energy and what drives him. And the interesting thing I've seen, Mitch, is you describe yourself as a serial entrepreneur. And that's a great description. It seems like if you're the slightest bit bored or if there's a need that your family has, boom, you just go out and launch a business. You have such a
It's actually true, yeah.
Yeah.
Or develop a new product or write a book or, something to give my brain some new stimulation, a different angle.
Since you're currently only operating, 4 or 5 businesses, how do you have time to write a book?
That's a good question. I wish I had an answer to it. No, the way that I've always approached my writing, and I've been writing for a little bit over 20 years. The first book I wrote was a little book called Marketing Your Espresso Business. Way back in the day, this is the early 90s, before Starbucks had a drive-thru on every corner, my mom and I bought an old failing 12 by 8 foot box, had espresso served out of the windows. And they had failed miserably because it wasn't a thing yet. So we bought it, and over about a 2-year period, we built it up to the largest in North Idaho. And I wrote this book just to help people understand how you can market a box that has coffee delivered through the window. And we sold 20,000 copies to Boyd's Coffee up here in Portland back in the day. And every single customer in the United States got one of these little, it was like maybe 70 pages, almost like a little Kindle ebook. But that was my first dive into the writing process. And pretty much my whole career, the way that I approach it is I want to do the research first. What swimming pool am I going to be swimming in? I want to learn as much as I can about the topic. And then I just kind of dive in with both feet and do my own thing. I know it sounds kind of weird, but the way I've always approached marketing is you look at what everyone else is doing, and then you just don't do that. You run as fast as you can the opposite direction. And I've kind of approached my writing the same way. I've had people give me reviews that say, you know what, you're different. It doesn't sound like A, B, C, D. It's more of a conversational style. People read what I write, and they feel they get to know me because I write like I talk. Just very casual, a little bit informal. My editors have terrible times trying to tell me, get rid of this, you can't say that. So yes, I can, because that's just how I would talk. And I think people appreciate that. It's just that the honest approach, and it's who I am as a person. It's part of my fiber, and I want that to be represented in whether I'm writing a book or an article or a blog post or a letter to my mom. I want it to be honest, sincere, and from the heart.
And real.
And real, yeah.
So you mentioned that was a business with your mom and years ago, and going back all the way to middle school, you started with business selling bike parts out of your garage. So has this always been part of your DNA is one part of my question, Mitch. And the other is, can anybody do what Mitche Graf does?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely believe that's true. Yeah, my first business wasn't the bike part. It was actually lemonade business, which I think we all did that when we were kids. Everyone was selling it for $0.25. I sold it for 50 cents, but I gave you a free cookie, and I had a table with chairs and a nice little fabric over the chairs, and I had an AM radio playing Dodger games back in the mid-'70s. And I was always looking for a different angle, how to get into people's minds. No matter what business I've always had that approach. I look at what everyone else does, and I just don't do that. But yeah, I think everyone has a passion inside of them, whether it be for woodworking or cooking, opening a restaurant, or doing a social media digital company. Everyone has passions. And I think the thing that scares people the most is because it's risky. When you open a business, as you know, you're risking a lot. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's time. But I like to take measured risk. And so I always coach people and teach people that figure out what your upside potential is and the downside potential. Make sure you can live with a failure. And then figure out the steps that you need to take in order to launch your idea, whether it be in your garage, in your kitchen table. Many $1 million, billion-dollar companies were launched on a kitchen table or in a garage, right? All the big ones we can think of. That's where they started, with an idea, a passion, and a purpose of getting this out to the world.
For most people that you coach or in your seminars, do they need to find that one passion? They may be passionate about, fill in the blank, swimming pools or, designer shoes or coffee, right?
Right, whatever.
You are so eclectic, though. Is it just a natural outpouring from your different interests, or did you see a business opportunity? We were talking about, you look in your past, restaurants and food and spices and barbecue and so many other things that you're into. Which came first? And does the person really need to focus on their one passion? You scare me a little bit, Mitch. Because you're so passionate, you have so much energy, and you have so much diverse interests.
Well, that's me. Most people don't have the 19 different things in the pot at the same time. And I've always been that way. Ever since I was little, I would get bored easily if I had to just do the same class all the time. I wanted to get done and move on to something else. And so actually my whole life, and I think track and field also taught me that if you want something, you set your goals, you work hard, and you attain your goals by little baby steps. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. But I was a sprinter. I had to go as fast as I could from this point to that point. And it was 400 meters, so I had a little bit of a curve to do, but my goal was to go as fast as I could from point A to point B. And I really feel that training and that mindset is with me today, because I look at every business, whether it is, and I think you're right, a lot of what I do is food, which until you said it, I didn't really realize. I got Barbecue Nation, I got dips, I got a catering company. I've written a couple recipe books because I love good food. I have a passion for that. Anyway, that's my approach to keeping myself entertained. But most people, I just encourage them to find the one passion that you have, and maybe it's just a hobby. It doesn't have to be something that you plan on monetizing, but let's just take a hobby. Maybe it's just cribbage boards. Maybe you like to play cribbage, and you get a piece of wood, you drill a bunch of holes in it, and now you have a cribbage board. Funny story, I had a cribbage board company because I love playing cribbage. And it was a passion that I had, and I got a piece of wood one day, drilled a bunch of holes, put some gold paint on it, drilled a hole in the end to put the pegs in, took a prototype to Target. I said, hey, I got this cribbage board company, which I didn't. I just had a prototype. I said, would you like to bring this in? And this is back in the days when Target could bring in stores one at a time. So the manager could say, yes, I want to bring your product in. So I went to the Target in Coeur d'Alene. I said, I got this beautiful thing. It's called the Wildlife Designer Series. I had a picture of a duck and a bass and an elk and a trout. And they said, yeah, we'll take 48 of each. So I real quick went back, built a business, made 48 times 4, took the order in. They gave me a check. I said, oh, this is easy. So after they sold through, I got a call from the regional guy who ordered for all the regional. Then I got a call from nationals. And eventually we were in all the Targets across the United States. And then I sold it. And
that's one of the things that I have a tendency of doing. Once I build something to a point that, okay, been there, done that, I'll sell. Mm-hmm. And I've sold probably, 15 or 20 businesses over the course of my career, ranging from small dollars to big dollars.
That's an interesting point. A lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of your writings have to do with speaking to the entrepreneur. They have trouble letting go. Mitch, one of the questions I always wanted to ask you is I know a lot of entrepreneurs that get caught in the I bought myself a job syndrome.
Oh, God.
And so they're not making any more than they would if they were working for somebody else, but they're taking all the risk, right? Or they're married to that. And especially, and I've been guilty of this, is where I won't give up enough control to give me some freedom that owning your business is supposed to have. What do you say to the entrepreneur to prevent them from getting in that trap?
Well, it's easy to fall into that trap. We all have been there. In fact, back in the 80s and early 90s, I was that guy working 80 hours a week because I bought myself a job. I had a business. I had to do all of it, just like so many small business entrepreneurs have to do. But what you find as you get into it is you have to give up something. You have to sacrifice. And what you sacrifice is your time. And we each have, I talk about it quite often, is we each have 86,400 seconds in a day, and that's it. And once those seconds are gone, we can't get them back. When you go to bed tonight, it's one less day we have in our lives to make a difference in the world and the difference in the people that we love. So I always tell people, look at everything that you're doing, figure out what is the most important things that you have to do yourself personally, and then do those things. And then figure everything else out. Either delegate it to someone that is in your circle, hire it out, or eliminate it, or figure out a way to automate it, right? You don't have to do 100% of the stuff. I tell people do 20% of the activities. And there's a principle out there, it's been around a long time, and most entrepreneurs know the term, Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your results is derived from 20% of your efforts. And if you look at 20% of your top accounts, in financial, they bring you 80% of your revenue.
Indeed.
It's like that in everything. It's amazing how those numbers will apply. I think it's more like a 90-10. So the reason that I have been able to do so many things at one time, well, two things. Number one, hire good people that are smarter than you and let them do their job. But number two, identify the high value activities that need to get done today, and then do those things, and then figure out a way to get rid of the other 80%. And then once you have this extra time, then you can decide, okay, I want to reinvest it back into building my business, or I'm going to reinvest it into going and watching my daughter at her concert tonight. I'm going to take my 6-year-old and go on a walk. I'm going to read that book I've been wanting to get to. I'm going to go play a game of cribbage with my dad. And then you have that freedom of choice because you have the freedom of time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one thing that most business people forget as they're designing their business is they forget to design their life. And I always tell people, build your lifestyle first, then figure out, reverse engineer, figure out your business on the back end. But that's not the way that entrepreneurs are taught in today's culture. It's opposite.
Interesting.
We'll be back with more of our interview after these words from our wonderful marketing partners.
Fans of Business Edge Radio, I have a very special treat for you. As you know, I love barbecuing and making up any excuse to get myself outdoors. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with Barbecue Nation. They make incredible sauces and rubs and spices and meat shredders and grill scrapers and lots more. And they're offering a deal for our listeners. Check out bbqnation.net. And when you place an order for any of their products, you'll receive a 20% discount off your order when you enter the word EDGE at checkout. Looking for a magnet that lists your cooking temperatures or different types of smoking woods? They got that. Need a heavy-duty set of meat shredders for your pulled pork or shredded chicken sliders? They got that too. Or my favorite is their Magic Dust Everything Rub that will spice up just about any dish. Log on to bbqnation.net. That's bbqnation.net today. And when you enter the code EDGE at checkout, you'll receive a 20% discount just because you hang out with us on the show. Barbecue Nation, get your grill on. We've all heard it said before that the best lessons learned are from the School of Hard Knocks. This prestigious university has some of the best alumni in the world, and the curriculum is more difficult than Stanford Medical School. You can't apply for admission, and you don't get to pick your classes. Well, now you can give the gift of a PhD from this prestigious university. This authentic diploma is printed on the same high-quality paper that the top schools in the world use for their diplomas and and comes with an official gold foil seal that will look great framed in any room. This PhD degree will become the center of conversation. Get one for your spouse, for your boss, for your parent. Give them the gift that money can't buy today. When you place your order at schoolofhardknocks.net, you'll receive a special discount of 20% at checkout when you enter the code EDGE. Once again, 20% off your first order when you use the code EDGE at checkout. Schoolofhardknocks.net. That's schoolofhardknocks.net. Get one for that person in your life who seems to have everything, or heck, get one for yourself. You've earned it. If you know anything about me, you know that I love my early mornings, and I really love a good cup of fresh roasted coffee. There's nothing better than getting started before the rest of the world with a good cup of joe. That's why I'm so excited to have Mountain Creek Coffee as a partner. The process is so simple. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. They don't roast your beans until an order is placed, which guarantees the absolute freshest coffee that you can get. Check out their artisan dark roast, medium roast, or decaf beans at mtncreekcoffee.com. And when you put in the code EDGE at checkout, you will receive 20% off your first order. I prefer the dark roast because of its full body and bold flavor. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. Log on to mtncreekcoffee.com and enter the code EDGE at checkout, and you will receive a 20% discount off your first order. Pretty cool stuff. Mountain Creek Coffee and Business Edge Radio, a partnership brewed out of the love of coffee.
We're talking to Mitche Graf, an inside look into Mitch's brain and his history and his personality that not everybody gets to get. So thank you for being here today. His book is Customer Service is Dead, Delivering 6-Star Service in a 1-Star World. And I'm going to start asking you some questions about that, but something important you mentioned earlier about failure. Don't be afraid to fail. And you failed in the 90s, and there's a salesman I knew at one time. He said, I'm proud to tell you that more people have told me no than anybody else who works here. And the reason that more people told him no is because he asked more people.
Right.
He says, more people have told me yes than anybody that works here as well. But it wasn't, is that kind of not having the fear of failure or learning from it. Your School of Hard Knocks. So Mitch, you're wiser now?
I have failed so many times, Brent. You said back in the 90s, and back in the 90s, I overextended myself and spent way more money than I had. And I filed bankruptcy. I mean, it's no secret. It's out there in my bio, and it's not a secret. But the lessons that I learned from making those mistakes, I never want to make again, because rock bottom is not a fun place to be. It reminds me of the story of the guy that falls down a manhole in New York City, and he can't get out. There's no stairs or anything. A preacher walks by and he says, "Hey, can you help me out?" And the preacher writes out a prayer, throws it down the hole. Next guy walks by is his buddy. He says, "Hey, friend, can you help me out?" The guy jumps in the hole with him. He's going, "What are you doing? Now we're both stuck." He says, "Yeah, you know what? I've been here before, and I know the way out." And so I think when you experience failure, whether it be business or bankruptcy or marriage or whatever it is, you learn valuable lessons that you cannot learn from a book. And because I've been willing to take risks, measured risks, now the last 30 years measured risks, I have incremental success. So I build it baby step at a time. I don't go from 0 to 100 in 1 second. I make sure that there's little mini bites of the elephant, and at each level, then you take inventory. You figure, okay, what do I need to tweak? What I got to change? And that figures out how to get to the next rung and the next rung. But yeah, the number of failures that I've had, I can't even count. All that matters is if you've been knocked down 99 times, all you got to do is get up 100 times. Get up one more time that you've been knocked down. And that's kind of the definition of the School of Hard Knocks, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's nice to have that experience. And I think people do learn from other people's experience. And that's why, they want to hear what you have to say.
I try to prevent people from making the mistakes that I made. Yes,
that's it.
yes.
I did this before, and yeah.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
I always talk about my own business experience. This one was really, really smart, and this was the dumbest thing I ever did. And it turned out okay in the end, but I really shouldn't have done it.
You want to know the dumbest thing I've ever done?
Yeah.
I had a great time with it. Hot tubs to go. It was a portable, single-axle flatbed. I designed it so that there was a deck with carpeting. We put an 8-seater hot tub in the middle and had a 8-track cassette tape. Remember those days? Okay. Yeah. Side rails for safety, and it was heated with propane. And so you hook it up, you take it to a driveway, you get it all leveled out, you use their garden hose to
fill up the thing, and which is the slowest process. It takes like a couple of hours. But once you get the water filled up, it took like 15 minutes to heat because it was propane. And then people would pay you $350 a weekend. I take it over on Friday, pick it up on Monday morning, and this was during college.
Huh?
And anyway, I paid the money to have this thing franchised. I did all the fees, and this thing was going to be franchised. Well, about 3/4 of the way through the process, the guy that I had hired died, along with a lot of the stuff that we were working on. Never was able to recover that. So I lost, 50, 60 grand. And by then I was on to something different. But my idea was I was going to have a hot tubs to go in every single major city. I think it's still a good concept today. I'm not willing to take the risk. Maybe you can.
University, right?
HotTubsToGo.com.
With great customer service. I liked reading about you, your experience with what's satisfactory and what's anticipated service. Let's talk about your book a little bit. Is customer service dead? I know as a consumer, it feels like there's always we've already capitulated the trade-off to quick, fast, cheap versus a level of expectation for service. Are we not willing to pay for it anymore?
I don't think so. I'm going to give you an example. Today, I do some work with Upwork.com. You can find freelancers. You can have someone design a book cover for you. Someone will be your virtual assistant. Somebody can write a press release. Anything you need, you can find on Upwork.com. So this morning, I had an issue that I needed to talk to corporate for. I spent 25 minutes bouncing around the website as I got more and more frustrated. Could not find a phone number. They had FAQs. They had a forum where I could see what everyone else had to ask and other people's answers. I needed to talk to a person. Well, I went to my credit card statement, found their phone number.
Wow. I
called it. The phone tree was not user-friendly at all. It took another 10 minutes before I got a live body, and I said, thank gosh, there's actually people that work for Upwork. I didn't know that. And I explained to him that I had this experience. He says, you know what, we hear that all the time. But as a consumer, I wanted to talk to a person. And so many businesses today that are online, they don't want to talk to people.
Right.
They want to have their software so efficient that you never have to talk to a live body. And I understand their goal, but what it does is it makes us less likely to demand excellent service. We're okay getting, the example that I use is you go to a gas station, you fill up with gas, the guy says, thank you very much. It's worth 5 stars, right? They meet your expectations. They give you gas, they give you a smile, have a good day. That's a 5-star. They meet your expectations. They didn't drop the ball anywhere. Well, what about if a company were to give you extra service, go above and beyond the call of duty, do something that wasn't expected? What do you do for those companies? Well, you can't do anything at this point. You give them a 5-star. And so what this book sets out to do is to create a new mindset in all industries, not any particular industry, but we need to all kind of look at how we've been taking care of our customers or not taking care of our customers, and then reinvent the systems that we have in our businesses that have touch points with customers. Reinvent them to the point where, what can we do above and beyond? What can we do extra for the customer to make sure they're not just a customer, but a fan? I recently interviewed a best-selling author, David Meerman Scott. Phenomenal author. I have several of his books on my shelf. He's a common household name in the entrepreneurial space. And he has a book called Fanocracy, turning customers into fans and fans into customers.
Fanocracy.
Fanocracy.com, or you can go to Amazon and find it. And it just talks about the mindset of, you're not just a customer. We want to make you a fan. The example he uses is the skateboarding dentist. He was approached by this boring, stale guy years ago that said, I'm a dentist. I have no fans. I have customers. Nobody likes your dentist. I have no fans. And he started asking questions. And he's like, well, what do you do? Well, what do you mean what I do? I'm a dentist. I don't do anything. And found out that he actually liked to skateboard a lot. Like, he skateboarded to work. He skateboarded home. He did everything. And his patients knew him as a skateboarding dentist. Well, he started using that in all of his marketing collateral. His website, his social media platforms. You walk in his office now, and there's skateboarding pictures all around the office. And his business is growing between 30 and 50% a year because he is known as the skateboarding dentist. So that's a fan. people that go to him now are fans of the skateboarding dentist. So each business needs to kind of look at what can we do to make our customers fans and love us and be willing to go to the highest mountain and yell our praises. What can we do? And that's kind of what this book attempts to do.
Look for something. You talk about exceptionalism. You talk about going above and beyond. Even if you don't want to, what does that mean? Even if you don't want to, it's just, when it comes to customer service, you have to take the next step, even if you think maybe it's not necessary, but that's how you're going to grow fans?
Well, two thoughts. Number one is, if you don't like customer service, that's okay. You need to have someone that loves customer service doing that job. If you don't like it, remove yourself. Same thing with sales. If you don't like to sell, you're not very good at it, learn how to do it. There's resources like crazy out there, or hire someone that can. So you look at the big companies today, the minimum wage employees are the ones that are holding the brand in their hand, whether it be the cashier, the teller at the bank, the gas pumper at the gas station. These people are holding the brands of multi-million and multi-billion-dollar companies, and the major companies are not thinking of it that way. Anyway, the big companies need to remember that those minimum wage frontline employees are the ones that are making a difference, and those are the ones that need the most amount of training. This book really is targeted towards those people more than the owner of the company, because that's where success lies, is in how that teller treats you. If you go into Chase Bank and the teller is rude, doesn't make eye contact, and makes it feel like it's an inconvenience for them to give you $40 out of your account, how do you feel about not just her, but how do you feel about Chase Bank? Mm-hmm. It tarnishes that reputation. That's where I think the disconnect is right now, because we're all rushing to the internet. We were doing it already, and then here comes COVID, and now we're even doing it more so. If you're not online, or if you weren't online, you are now. And if you were already online, you're more so online. You're either selling there, you're servicing there, you're doing something more online than you ever were. Social media is another very powerful way to turn customers into fans. And I think it's an underutilized tool. People think that social media is just posting what you had for dinner last night. But from a company standpoint, we use stock photos, and I'm guilty of it too. It's easy because there's millions of pictures that you can use for anything that you need. You go, you type in the name of what you're looking for, GED diploma. Here comes 1,000 pictures of GED diplomas. Well, that's not very personal. Get rid of the stock photos. Do it with real customers, number one. Number two, switch it to video. And not just video from afar. Go in close and personal. If you're talking to somebody or doing an interview, make it look like you're talking to your customer one-on-one. Like, go 4 feet away. Zoom in tight. And use that in your social media. People make connections that way, make personal connections, as opposed to saying, here's 19 guys in a white boardroom, all with smiles on their faces. People know that's not real. We're not tricking them. We're not faking them at all. They know that's a stock photo. So why keep doing it? So if we make that personal connection with our social platforms, all of a sudden people start thinking, okay, I know that company more. They become more likely to become a fan of yours.
We'll be back with more of our interview after these words from our wonderful marketing partners.
Fans of Business Edge Radio, I have a very special treat for you. As you know, I love barbecuing and making up any excuse to get myself outdoors. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with Barbecue Nation. They make incredible sauces and rubs and spices and meat shredders and grill scrapers and lots more. And they're offering a deal for our listeners. Check out bbqnation.net. And when you place an order for any of their products, you'll receive a 20% discount off your order when you enter the word EDGE at checkout. Looking for a magnet that lists your cooking temperatures or different types of smoking woods? They got that. Need a heavy-duty set of meat shredders for your pulled pork or shredded chicken sliders? They got that too. Or my favorite is their Magic Dust Everything Rub that will spice up just about any dish. Log on to bbqnation.net. That's bbqnation.net today. And when you enter the code EDGE at checkout, you'll receive a 20% discount just because you hang out with us on the show. Barbecue Nation, get your grill on. We've all heard it said before that the best lessons learned are from the School of Hard Knocks. This prestigious university has some of the best alumni in the world, and the curriculum is more difficult than Stanford Medical School. You can't apply for admission, and you don't get to pick your classes. Well, now you can give the gift of a PhD from this prestigious university. This authentic diploma is printed on the same high-quality paper that the top schools in the world use for their diplomas, and and comes with an official gold foil seal that will look great framed in any room. This PhD degree will become the center of conversation. Get one for your spouse, for your boss, for your parent. Give them the gift that money can't buy today. When you place your order at schoolofhardknocks.net, you'll receive a special discount of 20% at checkout when you enter the code EDGE. Once again, 20% off your first order when you use the code EDGE at checkout. Schoolofhardknocks.net. That's schoolofhardknocks.net. Get one for that person in your life who seems to have everything, or heck, get one for yourself. You've earned it.
You were talking earlier about your experience at a gas station, and you tell a story about an Uber experience. And when someone, they meet the expectation, but it's not really something special, but we're still expected through social pressures to give them 5 stars. Seems like 5 stars doesn't mean anything anymore.
It doesn't.
What you want for your readers is to find out, do something else. You were just talking about, well, there's a picture. There's a stock picture somebody else has. Then there's a personal picture. Then there's video. Then there's video. It includes your customer. And that's a step beyond, a step beyond, a step beyond. Boom, you're shining brighter with that 6th star. One of the things you talk about to get that 6th star is being proactive and solving the problems. And don't let your complaints stay as complaints, but turn them into 5 stars. How do you do that? How do you interact with the customer to do that?
Well, 2 steps. First of all, your systems have to be customer-centric. They have to be. And I think most of the systems today are not. And so the first thing I recommend to any business, whether you're small or large, you have to break down every single system that comes in contact with a customer, whether it be a phone center, whether it be a customer service agent, whether it be a retail person, whether it be a mid-level manager. All those people have contacts with customers. A lot of times the problems that are created are because the systems are broke. They're not efficient. And because of this revolution that we were going through with the digital age, it's made it more important that we are aware of that. And I don't think we are right now. Number 2, what I always tell people to do is put yourself in the shoes of your customer. And this is a hard thing to do. We're always looking at what we can do. Let's talk about our products. Let's talk about our services. But instead, what does a customer expect from you? What are they looking for? That's the step 1. You got to figure out what their minimum expectations are. I'll give you an example of a restaurant. Let's say it's Friday night and you and your family decide to order in. You call Choose Palace. You order your meal for 5. 20 minutes later, the guy shows up, gives you the food, says it's $62. You give him your money. You say thank you. He says thank you. He leaves. Nothing went sideways, right?
Yeah.
It's a perfect experience. It's 5 stars. Would you agree? Would you give that, assuming that the person on the phone was nice and they said 30 minutes and he got there in 30 minutes and the food was hot, you're going to give the guy 5 stars, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He met your expectations, not any more, not any less. What if the driver was 10 minutes late? Well, now you're at a 4 star. What if the driver was 10 minutes late and the food was cold? Now you're at a 3 star. What if your driver was 10 minutes late, food was cold, and the person on the phone was a little bit rude?
I'm not calling back.
2 star, right?
Right.
What if the person was rude, driver was late, food was cold, and it wasn't even any good? They didn't put any salt in it. It was terrible. Now you're at a 1 star. And I've heard people even say, if I could, I would have given a 0 star, which just makes me sick to my stomach, because there are people out there that have those kinds of bad experiences,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
So what if the person on the phone said, hello, Mr. Jones, how are you tonight? Because they saw the caller ID. Your name came up and they used your first name. Well, all of a sudden you feel special. What if they said 30 minutes and the driver showed up in 20? What if when he dropped it off, he said, and here's a $5 coupon that you can use anytime you order in the future? And what if the next day they sent you an email with some video recipes on how you can do some Chinese home cooking yourself? And what if on your birthday they sent you a thank you card or a birthday card with all the staff names written in the card? How would that make you feel? It'd make you feel pretty special. I would become a fan of that particular restaurant. Nobody's doing that these days. And the ones that are the ones that I think need to be given this coveted 6 star. There isn't a system out there right now of anything but a 5 star. So I am proposing, and I'm going to make a big effort with this book, is that we need to develop a 6 star system, a way to recognize those companies, whether it be Marriott, whether it be KYKN Radio, whether it be XYZ Plumbing. We need a way of recognizing the companies that go above and beyond the call of duty to deliver more than we expect.
Yeah, customer service is dead. Delivering 6-star service in a 1-star world is the book by Mitche Graf. You've written a lot of books over the years in varying topics. Like you said, You've had cookbooks to entrepreneur books to boot camp for entrepreneurs, right? So which is your favorite, Mitch? You're writing one now, so obviously you feel like you have a message to communicate. Is the favorite always the one you're currently writing?
No, it's not. The one that I'm writing at the current moment in my life is always, it's based on opportunity. I think my favorite book, because it's a culmination of my entire life, is the Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course. Because what it does is it covers what I call the 7 tentacles of business success, which is time management, lifestyle design, sales, marketing, pricing, branding, and social media. And it's a crash course. So it's I just got through recording the audiobook. It's 7 hours long.
Wow.
That's a long time for people to listen to a book. It's also a long time for someone to read a book. But it is very comprehensive. It was made for anyone that is thinking about starting a business, just started a business, or even people that have been doing it for a long time and fall into that trap of working the 80 hours a week. I help them get their control of their time back. That was my favorite book. And that was a culmination of, like I said, my entire career of failures and successes. This new book, though, I think is probably more important than anything I've ever written because of what we're going through right now as a society. I really believe that this is going to have the ability to make real differences in people's lives, whether you're a small business or even a large business. I see this as being a potential book that can be bought by IBM and given to all their people that deal with customers on a regular basis. So we'll see how that goes. I'm talking to my agent right now is dealing with the big 5, seeing if we can find a buyer for the book. If not, I have no problem self-publishing because, well, 2 reasons. 1, I control the marketing. Mm-hmm. And number 2, you make a lot more money when you self-publish.
No middleman.
Things happen faster. There's no middleman. But the nice thing about having a traditional publisher, and I've had traditional publishers before, they handle all the marketing for you. They know the right people to call. They know the right questions to ask. I'm just a guy with an idea with a pen and a paper. So these people know what they're doing. And like I said before, I like the idea of hiring people around you that are smarter than you and then staying out of their way and letting them do their job. And so that's kind of the situation now where I think this book has more potential than anything I've done. And I want to make sure I give it its due respect and hopefully give it some wings to fly.
Nice. So you have a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of varied interests. I know family is really important to you. I've met your family. You might as well just throw out a picket fence out there. You've got a lovely wife and kids and pets and everything. How does that jive? How are you able to transition that from doing, like you said, you used to do 100 things at the same time, and then you like to preach, to work 24/7, to work 24 hours a week, 7 months out of the year, right? It seems like an impossible task. As a business owner myself, I've always struggled with some of the mistakes you've talked about in terms of I didn't give that person enough autonomy to stay out of his way and give myself time, right? So how long should an expectation for a new entrepreneur or even someone that has their business for several years to retrain themselves to live the Mitche philosophy?
Well, they say it takes 6 weeks to create a new habit and 6 weeks to break an old habit. Everything that I talk about in most of my teachings are counterintuitive. A lot of things are. The 24/7, that just sounds crazy. I'm a 40-hour-a-week guy. Well, if you're working 60 hours a week and through being more efficient and designing your life first and working backwards, if you can get that 60 hours down to 56 hours, guess what? You just freed up 4 hours of your week to do with what you want. That's a game changer for someone that's working 60 hours a week. What if you can get it down to 52 hours a week? Hallelujah. You've changed his life forever because that 8 hours can be invested into family, into building the business, into starting a new project, into playing cribbage, right? There's no rules on that. So what I tell people is when you're starting out, start out first with that lifestyle design, whatever it is that you do, because money comes and goes, success comes and goes, family does not. Mom and dad do not. I lost my dad this last year, and I've also been dealing with some health issues. It's been a rough year-round for many reasons, right? So I've had to deal with some health issues, and makes me realize even more that, you know what, when I work, I'm going to make sure I am as efficient as I can be. because I want to get done with that and get to the things in life that really mean something, like spending time with my kids, my wife. My mom is up in Portland. Those are the things that really mean the most to me. And I don't want to work a second longer than I have to. I really don't. So my version of the 24/7 lifestyle is different than you, is different than anybody else in the world. We all have our own definition of what that 24/7 lifestyle means.
We'll be back with more of our interview after these words from our wonderful marketing partners.
Hello, Unleashed Tribe. I am so honored to have you as a loyal listener, and I'm very excited to tell you about the Business Edge Radio app, now available on Apple and Android devices. You can catch up on past episodes, watch short videos of the Business Edge Minute, our 60-second show that gives you quick and easy tips on building a better business and living a better life. And you'll get access to bonus materials that are only available on the app. In fact, I have a nice little PDF bonus waiting for you there right now. Plus, you can email the show, call the show, connect with us on social, check out our website, and even make a nice fluffy omelet. No, you can't really do that. Just go to the iTunes Store or Google Play Store, and you can download the Business Edge Radio app so you can be one of the cool kids on your block. Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and life. Now available in the App Store. Download it today. And if you don't, I'll come visit you on your day off.
In today's business world, it is vitally important that you understand what I call the 7 pillars of business success, which are lifestyle design, time management, branding, sales, marketing, pricing, and social media. Regardless of what industry you're in, and whether you have a brick and mortar or you're only online, having a solid foundation in these skill sets will set you up for success down the road. And to personally help you with your journey, I've come out with the Business Edge podcast, which you're listening to right this second, and I've also written a book that I can highly recommend called Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course, now available on Amazon.com, and will give you the 30,000-foot view of all these topics and many, many more. You know, reading is something that is slowly being replaced by videos and audiobooks or just scrolling through your newsfeed on social media. But I've always found reading to be kind of an escape from whatever is happening in the world. This book will help you slow down just a little bit so you can get your business house in order, so to speak, and get your creative juices a-flowing. Log on to Amazon.com today and get your copy of Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course. You can search my name, Mitche Graf, or search the title of the book. In the dog-eat-dog world of business success, the weak will perish and the strong will survive. Which will you be?
We're getting a peek inside the brain of Mitche Graf.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah. It's inspiring, actually. It's inspiring. You know, to this very same topic, something I picked up in your writings, you said, every day is a Saturday. You know, smarter, not harder is a great phrase. We've heard it before, smarter, not harder. But then you followed up with every day is a Saturday. And it really ties into what you just said, Mitch, in terms of I'm going to get my work done as fast as possible because it's Saturday and you should be playing catch, walking the dog, playing golf, playing cribbage, whatever it is, right? And I think if it's whatever day of the week it is, if you pretend that it's Saturday and you have other things in life to do, does it provide more intensity of the work you do and compresses it?
Saturday feels different than the other days of the week, right? It's just there's something special about Saturday. And so the idea there is just to transform the way you feel when you wake up on Saturday morning. You got the whole day. There's no work. You can stay up late that night because Sunday is also a day off if you have traditional Monday through Friday. So Saturday is a special day unto itself. It's an island unto itself. And so since 1994, I've had this idea in my head that if I can figure out a way to approach every day like it is a Saturday, it changes your perspective on everything, on work, on family, on scaling your business, on how many different irons you put in the fire at any given time. And I encourage everyone to kind of take a look at making today, whether it be a Wednesday or a Saturday, whenever you're listening to this, it really is Saturday. And it truly is going to be possible if you look at it that way.
Mitch, we're running short on time, but there's one more topic I want to ask you about, and that is the selling of a business. Now, you've created, bought and sold a lot of mistakes entrepreneurs and self-employed make is they don't know when to let go. It's like we talked about
so
owning
true.
your job. So do you let go when it's doing well? People have a hard time letting go. Or do you let go? When do you know when you've lost enough money or too much money? It's time to cut and run. It's one or the other, right? I think a lot of people hold on too long, and the emotional attachment because it was a passion project. You gave us some insight into Mitche Graf a little bit because you built this company, be it cribbage boards or what have you. You built it, and it's self-sustaining, it's operating, and you were part of the creative process in getting it done. But now it's day-to-day, and you lose a little interest and you sell it. Give a little advice to the entrepreneur about, hey, what is your cycle? When are you going to let this go? Is this going to be a lifestyle business and you're always going to run the gas station at the dock of the lake? Or are you going to build it to a certain level and sell it? Or if it goes the other way, how do you know when to cut and run?
Well, interesting question. It all depends on what your goals are in your life. If you're looking for a job, you're just trying to buy a job, you can start this little thing making little wooden jewelry boxes that you take to the Saturday markets and you sell to a few stores, and eventually you get into distributors and they're across the country. Maybe that's what happens. And maybe you're just looking for an income and that's all you're looking for. That's great. The way that I approach it is it's something for me to exercise my mental energies on. And that might only be for a year. It might be for 5 years. I've had Power Marketing 101 since 1999. I've had that for 22 years now. That's the longest business I've ever owned. Besides that, most of mine are between 3 and 5 years. Every company that I've sold at the best time as far as maximizing revenues. And I've been very lucky. There's a couple I held on to a little bit longer, but eventually I was able to offload. But it's very important that you understand, am I buying a job? Is this like you say, is this a lifestyle choice I'm making? Am I doing it because I want to have 50 employees and I want to be a player on the national scene? What are your motivations? My motivations has always been, okay, I have an idea. I love creating. You're right. I'm a creative person. Mm-hmm. I like to create. I like to build. I like to offload and go create something new. And that's where I get my zest and my zeal. That's where I really get my energies recharged. If I were to have to sustain a business for 20 years, I think I would be bored stiff. I would never be a good person working. The only job I've had since the early 90s is I became the president of a minor league affiliate for the San Francisco Giants. I did it because I was bored with my other stuff. They needed a president. I came and I did it for a year. And then I went back to my own companies after that. I like 1 to 5 years. That's what I like.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you for that. You know, on your book, last comment on your book, Customer Service is Dead, Delivering 6-Star Service in 1-Star World. Who should buy it? Who does that need? Should we all read it so we know what to expect and how to change our marketplace? Is it specifically for small businesses? Or like you said, should every person who works for a business that wants to grow it have to read it?
Well, rule number 1 in marketing is niche down, niche down, niche down. Find the lowest common denominator, and that's where you need to do your marketing. I really believe, though, that this is different than that. I'm not trying to niche. This is going to be a universal product. I really believe it's going to be for that one-man band that has his own plumbing store, his own plumbing business. He does everything. He answers the phone. He does the scheduling. He does the repairs. He does the ordering of all the products. This book is for that person. This book is for the Fortune 500 frontline person that deals with customers on the phone 40 hours a week and is looking for a way to help understand what the customer is asking when they call and they complain, right? They're not complaining because they want to complain. We didn't do something that they expected us to do. We dropped the ball somewhere along the way. That's why I said earlier, we have to have systems in place that shows our customers what their expectations are, what our expectations are, and how we're going to meet those expectations.
That's great stuff. Mitche Graf, serial entrepreneur, serial author, best-selling author, and a pretty darn good cook.
That is one of my passions.
Sharing.
I love to cook. I like good wine. I like good single malt scotch.
I've used the herbs you drop by at Christmas time.
Okay,
I use that, put it on some steak, and I'll let you know when I run out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I got more.
Thank you, folks.
My pleasure.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little look into the craziness that is my mind and were able to pull out a few nuggets out of the conversation. My thanks once again to Brent De Hart for his willingness to share some of his time with me and all of you. Well, that will do it for this edition of Business Edge Radio. My parting shot today is this: how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world and friend. Until next time, this is Mitche Graf reminding you to live every day like it's a Saturday and to live with passion. I'll catch you later.
Thanks for hanging out with Business Edge Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to subscribe, rate, and review. Then hop on over to www.mitchegraf.com to get even more meat and potatoes. We also invite you to follow the show at facebook.com/Unleashed Tribe. The most valuable asset that any of us has is our time. And we thank you for choosing to spend some of your precious time with us.